um, experience you've had finding places to stay there or in and around Halifax?
You know what? And this is absolutely true. There's so many websites that say this room is accessible, or as you encounter when they have to climb 6 steps, or the rolling chair has a lip in front of it. So that's not really a rolling chair if you can't actually access it. So what we do is go straight to the tourism associations of the local area and ask them right out, tell us what you have, show us pictures. We phone hotels. It requires a lot of investigation. As you know, you can take hours to find something, but we want to know truly that this place truly is accessible. So we do, and we would be happy to assist you with finding out about the region itself. And of course, as we all know, Canada is right now in the siege of trying to figure out exactly how to become accessible, how to actually service this type of traveler or people in general. And it is very, very frustrating. Actually, I'm the vice president of Barrier Free Canada. And so we find it so frustrating that we want change to happen, but it's slow, and it is a bit frustrating because you really, really have to dig and dig hard. Whereas it should be something very, very easy where hotels, resorts, restaurants have the information and know exactly what they need in order to be designated as being accessible. So to answer your question, Brenda, Canada is a developing country around accessibility, and I'm happy to see many, many provinces, Prince Edward Island, um, Ontario, Quebec, all working very, very hard and have great lists of places that we have access to that are accessible. Smaller towns are a little bit more difficult, but that's when, and this, I don't trust websites, to tell you the truth. I don't trust websites. So people go to our site, look at things, and think, I want to talk to these guys and see what they know. So we are happy to help people, but we don't go to websites of people that say, yes, we know about the accessibility of an area. I want to talk to the tourism associations, the local ones, because they know exactly what is in the portfolio for hotels, restaurants, theaters, whatever the case may be.
Thank you for telling me. I'm also going to put out that I'm traveling with some family members. So there's 2 small children. There'll be like 6 of us all in all. So that becomes another confusing and awkward factor. And I'm really good about, I've been to Rwanda, Uganda, China, up the Great Wall, whatever the hey.
Good for you, Brenda.
I don't mind discomfort and difficulty, but I feel concerned only that because I'm traveling with a family, that 6 of us being in one place and also having that kind of accommodation, I don't know if I'm barking up a tree that doesn't exist.
It does exist. It's a matter of finding it. And typically, wheelchair accessible rooms, hotel rooms, typically only should accommodate 2 people. And the reason is because you want to make sure that you have enough room to do a complete turn. So if you have 3 or 4 people in a room and the beds are set up that way, it makes it difficult. So it is, I think the more the merrier is what we say. And there are ways to go around. I mean, we have done some things that just are a little crazy. We've had clients who visited India, but they needed to have a hospital bed in the hotel room They needed to have a sort of like, I guess, a mattress on top, so it helped with comfort for bed sores. Needed to have a larger wheeled commode. So all these things in a country that is quite a ways away from us, we did manage to accommodate. And I saw somebody just pop up with a question about Cancun or Mexico in general. We actually work very hard at creating lists of resorts that are fully accessible. The problem you run into with booking something with like Air Canada Vacations or WestJet Vacations or Transat. Transat really actually is not too bad, but they will not tell you, yes, we will guarantee you a wheelchair accessible room. So we've actually had phone calls from Mexico, from people in Cancun who booked online. So yeah, I'm going to get a wheelchair accessible room, and they showed up at the resort, and lo and behold, they did not have one. And the door was not wide enough for the wheelchair to fit through. So Mexico is, there are some beautiful, beautiful places that truly are accessible. There are actually brands that we work with that we know exactly what type of room and we need to book. And I don't wait to hear from Air Canada Vacations or WestJet or whomever. We actually phone and talk to the resort directly and say, here's the booking number, here's the last name. Can you tell me, guarantee me wheelchair accessible room? And they will email back and say, yes, we have guaranteed the room for Mr. Smith. And so not to worry. And so now we have in writing that there's a wheelchair accessible room there for Mr. Smith. Have to be tenacious because unfortunately, travel suppliers like the WestJets or Canada's, they're working and learning about us, but even their vocabulary. I mean, WestJet will ask, is this person wheelchair bound? Which drives us nuts because nobody's wheelchair bound. We use a wheelchair. So we, to answer the question, anywhere you want to go. Okay, Patty can't hear us. Internet's not down. But anyway, please do one thing and email us at info@travel-4for-all.com. And one of our specialists would be happy to contact you. And we will actually phone you, set up a Zoom discussion with you, or your caregiver or whomever is going to be assisting you with your travel plans. So it is completely one-on-one. There's none of this emailing and hoping that when you get there, everything works out right. No, it has to be completely investigated. We need confirmation. I myself had booked in the past, booked rooms, and they said, oh yes, it's a roll-in shower. It's wheelchair accessible. Well, I'm fortunate that I can still walk with my I call it my Ferrari, with my 4-wheel walker. But when I travel, I use my scooter. But I've gone there, and there was no way the door was wide enough for a standard size wheelchair. No way. And so when I speak to the front desk and ask them, you know what? I asked for a wheelchair accessible room. This is not accessible. Well, this is on the first floor. Being on the first floor doesn't make it accessible. It just means there's no stairs, but you still have to access the room. So we do really, really investigate. And Cal, actually, who's joining us here, is part of our team, and she actually is in Alberta. We're expanding. We are very, very, very well known in the US, and we're trying to be that in Canada. It's a little bit more difficult because we find that we just don't seem to have the same reach in Canada as we do in the US. albeit I'm on many boards, Barrier Free Canada, Accessible Standards Council of Canada. So we're really trying to get out there to get our name so that people know that we're here, and we are passionate about making sure that whomever wants to travel has the ability to do so. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let Cal tell you about herself and what she's doing. And she's busy doing all kinds of stuff for clients, but let her tell you what she's doing.
Thanks, Tarita.
Yeah.
So I'm Cal, and I have only been with Travel for All for a relatively short time. But just to expand on some of the things that Tarita mentioned with the rooms, when they claim to be accessible and then they're truly not. One of the things we do with our supplier is we actively audit some of the sites to make sure that the doorways are wide enough, that the bathroom is accessible, because that's another big one I hear from a lot of clients, is that the bathroom door is like swings in and you can't get in or out. And as Tarita mentioned, also lips on roll-in showers and just a whole list. So something that we like to do is, if we can't personally go to a resort or some other accommodation or tour, to make sure that it is accessible. And we do site audits personally as well if we can, but we work with suppliers who will go and measure things and provide us with that information, take very detailed photos. Now in the age of cell phones and everything, it's much easier to get video walkthroughs of places, and that really allows us to share that information then with our clients, because traveling, especially if you have a disability, is very stressful and it's scary. That's the thing I hear the most, is that it's scary to leave your house and your support and everything. And what are you going to do if you're in some other country and you don't have an accessible place to stay, or you can't use the washroom? What are you going to do? So we understand that it's scary, and we want to mitigate that stress as much as possible. And so that's why we do what we do, is we just want people to be able to travel. We have some clients who we've talked to who haven't been anywhere since they were diagnosed, or if they had an injury, people who haven't traveled in a decade or more, and they want to, but it's just, there's just so much anxiety about the unknown. So that is why we feel really passionately about what we do. And the other thing too is a lot of people who are older or who have a wheelchair or other mobility challenges, they sort of get pushed towards going on cruises. And there's nothing wrong with cruises. I love a good cruise. But not everybody wants to go on a cruise. I know some people who are terrified of the sea. And so that wouldn't work for them. And we don't want that to be the default. And we don't want just cruising to be the only option that people feel like they have, because there's so much more to the world that you can't necessarily see from a cruise ship or a port. And that's why we do custom vacations for people who want to see different things. One of the things I'm working on right now is a London-Paris trip for a family of 5. And so they want to do all the things. They want to see all the parts of London. They want to see all the popular parts of Paris and take the Channel. So we're able to do that for them. Their son has cerebral palsy. So we can make that happen for them and make it as easy as possible, pre-book all of their tickets, their transportation. Someone will meet them at the airport, take them to their hotel, which will be guaranteed accessible. And then we will have transportation for them throughout. And we just try to make it as smooth as possible so they can go and enjoy their time and not have to worry about any of the things. So we do love organizing cruises though, so please don't get me wrong about that. And all-inclusives. We've really been working on a lot of all-inclusives lately. It seems to be a popular thing now that some of the requirements are being relaxed. So people are starting to feel like they want to get away while the weather's still cold. And there are lots more resorts coming on board with actual accessibility. Some of them still have a long way to go. But as I'm sure you know, if you've looked at any of the, if you Google all-inclusive Mexico, like there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of properties, and it's extremely overwhelming. So working with us just makes it much quicker to focus in on the ones that are going to meet the specific needs of our client. And that way they can just, they have just a couple to choose from instead of just being like completely overwhelmed by the number of choices. And yes, we can just help guide you because we talk to the suppliers, we work with them to make sure that anytime we send someone to a destination, that they are going to have an excellent travel experience and not really run into any problems. So that is my spiel.
And I'm just going to jump in here because there's a couple of really good questions. You asked about transportation in Cancun. I'm very, very happy to tell you that Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, Veradero, many different places, we actually have suppliers who have adaptive vehicles, and they actually have ramped vehicles. So if you're in a power chair, you can get into the vehicle and be locked in and be safe. And they do tours, they do transfers, all kinds of stuff. And people don't know about them, but we work with them for years. So to answer that question, yes. Another great question that Brenda asked is what are our fees? We are a full service travel agency. So we are actually paid by our suppliers. We don't charge you fees. If you ask us for basic information, we're not going to charge you fees to give you advice. That's just the under the crust is the whole purpose of Travel for All, which is to aspire people to travel. We don't like to think that we're inspirational, but I want to inspire people to get out there and just visit the world. There's so much to see and do, and I've been fortunate that I've traveled around the world, but I also know that it can be scary. Yes, the U.S. and Brenda, that's a good statement. The U.S. has, of course, the ADA. Canada, as we all know, passed an act which still has many, many holes to give us rights within Canada. But I still know, I don't know if anybody else is going to have noticed it, but if you want to go shopping to buy a gift for someone, I'm so frustrated with trying to get into a store to buy a candle for a birthday gift because it's so packed full of their merchandise. There is no way in God's green earth that I can get in there without taking out their displays. So we have to learn that help us spend our money. We will have to buy the candle from you, but if you block the entire store with all of your lovely paraphernalia, we can't buy from you. So I will not go there. I will go into a store where I can actually get in there with my scooter and not take out different beautiful displays. One thing that I also, as I say, that I've said on so many boards is that one day I sat on a committee here in Nanaimo, which where I'm located. And so I wanted to see, because Nanaimo is one of the most inaccessible to places. Downtown Nanaimo is absolutely a nightmare. So I told my worker, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to audit downtown Nanaimo with my scooter. So off we went. Well, they had their lovely displays out on the sidewalk. So first of all, I couldn't get through to them because they've got these stupid displays on the sidewalk. And then actually there was huge potholes. So I ended up stuck in one. Well, I'm fortunate that my legs still work and my support worker and somebody very, very kind, because there are so good people in this world, came out to help me get out of this pothole. But that just shows you how much we have to learn in Canada. we are wonderful that we have these. We give seniors discounts if they shop on certain days. Why can't we do that for people who are wanting to visit destinations but have a requirement? Why can't we say to them, you know what, come and visit Bath and Body Works? I'm saying that just because it's one of my favorite stores, and it's also one that's packed chock-a-block. But I actually wrote a letter and talked to the owners of the shopping center. And I had said to them, you know what? I would spend $170 at Winners because I could get in there, and you guys missed out on my money. So it is really neat. In London, in England, they are very, very, very passionate. It's called the Purple Pound. And they started a movement which is basically help us spend our money. And I'd like to see that in Canada because we are left out of things and it's frustrating. And we're too nice. Canadians, God bless us all, but we're too nice. We need to be able to say, okay, you know what? I want to be able to access that simple things like a museum. Somebody just put in here as well that where was it? One of the museums they visited. Let me just scroll up. Sorry, but this was really, really astounding. Who put in about a place that they wanted to go to? It's not accessible. Anyways, yes, there are New Jersey, first time in Canada, just three of Policy Street Gallery. You know what? New Jersey, New York is fantastic for accessibility. I have to say that. So we'd love to help you visit New Jersey. It is so much fun. There's great things to do, great activities. And if you have tracheotomy, whatever it is, we can make sure that you have supplies at the hotel when you check in. If you need a Hori lift, a real commode, if you need catheter supplies, we will make sure that we can have those things for you when you arrive. Because the worst thing to do is, I call them sexy undies, but the antenna pads. If you're trying to pack and you take your antenna pads with you, your clothes will not fit because those things are so thick. They'll take up all the room. So we will help you to have those at destination. When you see audit areas, yes, we do have an audit form that we will specifically go through and check. And we actually have some audits for places in Mexico. I used to have a fellow that was working with us. This is going probably 10 years back. And he actually lives in Mexico. Lucky guy, he's retired there. So I sent him all the information about here's what the audit, the questions are. And he went to resorts and spoke to managers and had them actually complete the forms saying, okay, things like wanting to know, okay, inside the building may be accessible. What about outside? Is the parking? And is the parking 50 miles away from the front door? Does the front door have a step, a lip you get into? So we're very, very, when it comes to asking questions about audit, we are very, very meticulous. We ask questions about all kinds of things that we want to know, and we don't just look after or help people that have mobility challenges, but people that are visually impaired, hearing impaired. So we want to make sure that that particular hotel room has Braille so that the person can actually learn more about where order the burger from at the hotel. Canada, if you go to a hotel, I guarantee you, seeing Braille anywhere, pretty rare. Or if you want to know that somebody's at the door, there's no light to vibration under your pillow to tell you that something's going on. Those things need to happen, and the only way that they're going to happen is by us demanding it. And the U.S. they're exceptionally tenacious, and I'll tell you, most of our clients are American, and we send them all over the place, and the ADA was, of course, founded so long ago, and it really is something that Canada, we can be much, much better. The ADA still has some holes in it, but the Canadians, our laws are not holes, they have craters. There's so much that we have to fix. So I'm reading here as I'm going along. So Jersey, yes. Yep.
Oh, part of her question about the audits is that she just wanted to know if she has difficulty in a particular area, like you mentioned, we have to demand, more thought. Where would she, submit complaints about that kind of thing locally?
Well, if it's a city, for instance, go and talk to the mayor of that city. That's how actually, it's funny. That's how this community, that's how Nanaimo started a committee of people who have various disabilities who were going to go and try to improve Nanaimo. Now, how that happened is because I did don't shut up. Honestly, I phoned, I faxed, I emailed, and I said, come on. I went there and said, you know what, you guys, it is such a beautiful city, but you're not allowing us to visit. And things, for instance, I'll use this as an example. There was for kids. One of those beautiful parks downtown Nanaimo, and they were building a great play area for the children. Well, they had gravel instead of cement. And I said to them, you know what? I challenge you to try to move your wheelchair in gravel. How do you expect somebody to do that? So you built this beautiful thing that the child wants to be able to get into the swing set, whatever it may be. But because of gravel, you've now left barriers. So what you have to do is really and truly, and I say this with the utmost respect for all Canadians, but be tough, be tenacious, reach out to the mayor, the tourism associations, and say, look, this is what I've encountered. And what are you guys going to do about it? And if they say, well, we'll get back to you, which is usually what they'll say to you with your information, and they'll get back to you, write down the name of the person you spoke to, the date, the time, and then give it a week or two, phone back and ask to speak to the same person, and tell them a few weeks back I asked you about why can't I access this restaurant? Why can't I visit this area? What information have you got for me? You put them on the spot, and that is the only way for there to be change happening, is to demand it. And that's the only way. And so, let me see what the questions here are. You're welcome, Lori. Tom, yeah, you're absolutely right on that one. There is more money to travel when you have a disability. And budget friendly, you know what? We search and we find it. I'll tell you why accessible travel is more money than just regular able-bodied. Temporarily able-bodied is what I say, because as you age, things don't work as well. Well, the thing that But the reason behind the cost is that the amount of time it takes to book and plan a trip for somebody when you have requirements is probably about, I don't know, Cal, 5 times as long. It is so much work because you don't get answers right away. And so we're fortunate when we use our suppliers. Those suppliers around the world, the reason that they started the company is one of two reasons. Either they have a disability or a family member themselves, and so they want us to be able to welcome people to where they live. The second reason is that this is somebody who sees the potential, financial potential. Financial potential for this demographic is huge. Baby boomers have tons and tons of money to spend on travel. So that's why they started their companies. But we do try, Tom, to work within the budget. We'll ask you, it's one of our questions. We will send you a client profile. And on the client profile, it says, what is your budget? And we're not doing that to be nosy or be rude. We just want to know. If you say, look, $5,000 is all I've got in the bank to go on this trip, we will work really hard to stay within your budget. That's why we ask. So sometimes we can do it. Just say your destination. If you're going to places that are more expensive, like Paris, for instance, which is more money. It depends on where you're going. Within Canada, you usually do it for less money, and it is, and I hope that everybody knows all the different perks that happens with this release that you can have with Air Canada, WestJet, Travel Companions, you have somebody traveling with you for free. Also seeing eye dogs, all of these things you need to make sure that you have all of the information for. There's so many things out there where if you, something is smaller is going to see a movie. When I go to the theater, I unfortunately first no longer drive, which was the worst thing when I couldn't drive. But I can't go by myself, so I have to have somebody go with me. So you fill out the form, you now have a companion, and they don't pay to see the movie. Flights are the same thing within Canada. Once you decide, hey, we're gonna go to Hawaii, and I want to keep my caregiver with me, they do not give you the same perk for your companion as they do if it's within Canada. That's the thing. The real thing, there's so many things that you can use. And of course, as I say, come Christmas time, everybody wants to be your friend. We have a disability because we have best parking. And so within Canada, great perks. But as soon as you want to leave Canada and fly somewhere, you have to do perks for your companion. You do have to pay for your, whether it be your nurse, your caregiver, family member, whomever, you do have to pay. But to answer your question, Tom, tell us where you want to go, tell us how much your budget is, and we'll figure it out for you. What's that for? Lori with passports fit social worker from Jeff Strong or letter to Canada, but that letter still be in effect. It depends if the letter was I'm not quite sure what the letter said, but with Air Canada and WestJet, it's a form you fill out, and if you can't fill it out, you have a caregiver, a friend, or somebody fill it out for you, so that you do get the perks. Being a former social worker, we used to do something similar to what you're saying, but I don't know. It depends on how long ago that letter was, and you would need to make sure that you still have the perk with Air Canada. They have that perk of your travel companion, and so I'd be happy to help you if you need to get that child companion set up. One of our team would be happy to help you. It's not difficult to do. It's just give me a bit time consuming. And so all you do is fill out the form, and send that off to the airline. Emily, Deborah, and I know it is frustrating. And you know what, the mayor's office, if he wants to be reelected or she wants to be reelected, they have to do something. Like, as I say, be tenacious, reach out to everybody. For instance, when I was telling you about the shopping center, I reached out to the owners of the mall, of course, huge companies that own multiple malls. And I reached out to them and said, okay, you know what? You guys are missing. And I showed them the stats of how many people would like to actually enjoy and visit shop at the mall, but they don't. And there's no perks for people who have disabilities to shop anywhere. But seniors have it, so why don't we have it? Why don't we get a 15% discount on Thursdays? But the only way that's going to happen is to demand it. Let me see. Have I got any other questions? I'm scrolling back just to make sure I haven't missed any questions. The 88, the US, now actually I'm fortunate, my business partner, is an investor in our company. Actually, in the US, he was one of the members who actually assisted with forming of the ADA. He sat on Biden's or Obama's committee for accessibility. He sat on Biden's. He was the vice president of the Comcast Foundation. He is also a wheelchair user. About a week before he was scheduled to start college, he was injured in a diving accident, and he's paralyzed from the chest down. I can't remember what number that is, whatever, but he is exceptionally passionate. So we are invited to speak at many different conferences around the world. Dubai, Nepal. Now, I can't visit all these places as much as I'd like to go, but I have representatives to run. So we have Geo representing us and talks about accessible travel. Dubai, for instance, the whole day expo, and they worked so hard to being accessible, and they've got some great stuff in place. Expensive place to visit though, so you've got to make sure that you take a loan out to visit Dubai. It's an expensive place. It's a place that you must visit. It's UAE. It's absolutely a spectacular place. And people are. It's really funny, and my husband said this too. Years ago, I'm not going there because I'll stick on for thumb rooms, wages are driven snow. There's no way to go there. Well, you know what? In those places, mostly you have people from the US that work there, people from the UK that work there. When I was in Dubai, I was shocked the first time that I was there because there were so many Caucasian people, and I thought this was kind of strange, but it's all blended together. And in fact, before I was diagnosed with MS, I had accepted a position to buy. My background, my education is in developmental disability. So they were actually going to be opening a school for children or that were on the spectrum, the autism spectrum. So they wanted me to go to help build the school, create the foundations of it, etc. And when I was diagnosed with MS at 29, I thought probably not a good idea to leave and go across the world. I, in many ways, wish I had gone because it is an astounding place to visit. Places in Canada, and I'm going to show you, that are accessible and beautiful is you've got to visit Niagara Falls. It's beautiful. Montreal does a great job. Quebec is really, really focused on accessibility, and they have lists of suppliers that they use. Prince Edward Island, this is a really kind of a neat one. We have a client whose mom has ALS. So as kids, they used to always watch Anne of Green Gables, my favorite series. But for Christmas, they wanted to give her a gift. They wanted to go to Prince Edward Island and spend some time, do some tours, basically be around the area where Anne of Green Gables was filmed. So we did put together a trip for them that was completely accessible. And what a gift for her mom. And that was just, when we hear things like that, we want to do lots of times. It's very emotional because we know, especially when we're helping people that we know have something that is going to end their life. And that's really, really hard. It's difficult because we know that we are planning a trip for someone that this would be their last trip. So ALS is one of those that's just really, really is difficult because it's emotional. We had one client, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. I'm going to share some stories because I think it'll really give you an idea of how important accessible travel is. We had a client who had MS and was very inaudible. And as you know, with MS, we have a slur. And I always say, you know what, I sound like a drunken sailor, but oh well, that's the way it is. But he was a university professor, an art teacher. And so he wanted to actually go to Italy and visit the museums and see the art right up close. He wanted to see it, but they didn't think he'd ever be able to. He had very, very progressive MS, so he was paralyzed from the neck down. Didn't think it was going to happen. And so we said to him, you know what, that you will go and we will plan everything. So we did. And he got to visit every single place he wanted to right up front. And so when he came back home, his wife sent us a card that said, I don't think you'll ever realize how much you impacted his life, because he never thought he would ever sit there. And that's why we're here, is we don't ever want to hear somebody say, I can't go there. Reasons to say I can't visit there should be either financial, or your husband hates leaving and doesn't want to go to a warm climate, but you really need to know that anywhere you want to go, you can go. And it's the whole premise is that we showed on our video. We will tell you the pros and cons of a destination, and then the choice is yours, whether or not you want to go or not go. If there are no adaptive vehicles, if you're comfortable with being lifted in and out of places, if they don't have hotels that are accessible, you don't have rolling showers, you will be lifted, you can sponge bath, whatever the case to be, will give you the ins and outs of it all. And then the choice is yours. And it's frustrating because, as Cal said, they'll always tell you, oh, cruising is perfect for people that have disabilities, which is true. Cruising is lovely, but not many of them. But why? MS has taken enough away from me. It's already stopped me from being able to do many things that I used to do. I don't think that anybody should have the right to tell me you can't go there. If somebody rolls into a travel agency and says, you know what, I have really my whole life wanted to go to Ireland, and what happens, unfortunately, is that your regular travel agency, they're going to look at you with this blank look on the face because they have no idea how to get you to Ireland. And we have sent people to amazing places. One fellow, actually, this is going back 15 years ago or so, wanted to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and he was a paraplegic. And so I remember saying to him, really, why? Why are you going to go and do something so crazy? And he said, well, why not? Why can't I? And so he did. We actually helped him. We figured out a way. We have suppliers that you could do that kind of stuff. We have suppliers in New Zealand, and his whole business model is that he does crazy stuff. If you want to do the hiking, if you want to go doing the what is it called, rafting, and on rivers that are crazily unsafe, I think. But that's what his model is that, and he said to me, you know what, I'm tired of telling people, or people telling me that I cannot do that. I'm tired of hearing it. So you know what? My business is to do things that shock the hell out of people. That, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to advertise. And he is busy. We use him. We've had people that have gone on his travel tours and come back and said, wow, how amazing. It was amazing to feel like everybody else. And that's what it's all about, is inclusion. That's really the focus. Cal, you got your hand up. It's like school. Go ahead, Cal. You're on.
Oh, what?
I thought I saw you raise your hand.
No, sorry. I was just listening to your stories.
I have so many.
I know.
I could tell you stories galore, and years of doing this. We are expanding rapidly, and it's wonderful. And we've been partners, to give you an idea, we've been partners with MS Canada now for 15 years. And I gotta tell you this, we had booked one vacation for them, and that was for one of their staff. And so the problem is that unless you share information about us, nobody's going to know about us. And that's the thing is, the only way to find out about us is that people will talk and tell you about who we are. And actually, thank you. You know what? Thank me after you've gone on that one place you wanted to visit and never thought you could. That is what is the best thank you for us, is that you have been able to do something that your whole life you've heard from people. Are you nuts? You can't go there. You can't walk. Your hands don't work. You can barely talk. How the hell are you going to do that? Tell them, you know what? Just watch me. That's what we need to put that in as one of our models. Is just watch me, because it is this rule was made for all of us, not just for that able-bodied person who ran 10 miles. That's not. It was for all of us, and it is so cool to see things like tactile tours at museums in Italy. We can actually arrange for you to see the Pope, and I'm not kidding. We can actually do that. We have suppliers in Italy who the Pope has certain days where, depending where he's traveling around to, but he will actually have allow visit, so we can book it with our supplier. It's not all the time, at certain times. And also, I don't know if any of you guys have heard about Passion Play. And that is something that people have been wanting to go and see and do, but they weren't sure whether or not they could. And we've sent people on to visit do Passion Play. many times. And so you hear that ding, 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 that's just my cell phone. People needing something or other. But I would like to, GF Strong is a place that we have been wanting to go to share it. I emailed them, I phoned them, I've been tenacious and said, okay, you know what, share what we do. And that's really what we want, is we want everybody to know about us. And it's not so that I can run out and get that Mercedes that I always wanted, so that we can make things happen for you. It's like I say, our illnesses, our diseases, our whatever has happened to us is enough. We had enough taken away from us this time that we were given things. So we want to give you the gift of shovel. Are there any questions?
I did put our toll-free number in the chat box. And also, I think, and our email address, but as Tarita mentioned earlier, it's info@travel-for-all.com. And our toll-free number is 1-888-993-9295. So if you do have any questions that you think of later, or if you wanted some assistance with any travel plans, please get in touch and we are delighted to help you. It doesn't matter if it's near or far. We do have some great stuff right in BC. There's a lot of accessible hot springs and quite a few hotels actually that are able to accommodate people. So, and thank you so much for having us today.
Yes, and one last thing I wanted to say. If you go to Hello BC and you go and you click on where it says accessible, right down the bottom it says, if you need help planning your trip, Travel for All, I'll help you. You click it, it comes right to us, because we have a lot of fondness in with the Destination BC and Destination Canada. I sit on the board. Like I said, it's crazy. The only way to get things done, guys, is to make it happen. So that's the thought that I want to leave you with, is to really and truly demand inclusion. Demand it. Thanks, Brenda.
I am going to run a video about Ogre Lake if you guys are interested. So let me know when you want me to run that.
I don't think we have any other questions. Do you have any questions?
No, I think we got them all. So yeah, go ahead if you're ready with the video. We're done talking.
Sure, thank you.
I'm never done talking, but go ahead.
Okay. Thanks for watching. And then I think I will end the meeting now. Anybody wants to say anything? Okay, thanks everyone.